Welcome back. One final point before we go tonight. Students across the country are planning to walk out of school in the middle of the day tomorrow to protest gun violence. They plan to wear orange, and by skipping class, they want to pressure our politicians to ban so-called assault weapons. Well, here's a better idea. If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to protest the fact that your politicians refuse to abolish gun-free zones in your schools, even though 98.4% of mass shootings happen in places like schools that advertise to psychopaths that the killer will be the only person with a firearm. If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to protest the fact that your elected officials, who are surrounded by armed security, refuse to put armed security in schools to protect you. If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to protest the fact that liberal talking heads from California and New York, who've never fired a gun in their lives, want to ban capable, willing, and trained teachers from concealed carrying. Do you think a killer would walk into a classroom and open fire if he knew the PE teacher, who was also a certified security guard, was carrying a Glock under that sweatshirt? If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to protest the fact that your politicians refuse to acknowledge the negative impacts of absent fathers. Did you know kids without dads in their lives are more than twice as likely to commit suicide? Did you know the overwhelming majority of mass shooters in recent history have not had father figures in their lives? If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to protest the fact that our politicians refuse to study the impacts of black box psychological drugs that list as a side effect homicidal ideation. Guess how many mass killers in modern history were taking these drugs around the time they waged their attacks? If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to protest the fact that our government institutions failed to keep us safe. The FBI was warned about Nicholas Cruz. They ignored him. The Broward County Sheriff was warned about Nicholas Cruz. He ignored it. The school knew about Cruz's violence. They ignored it. School psychologists warned the school administrators about Cruz's violence. The school administrators ignored it. If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to protest the fact that your politicians are blaming guns instead of holding accountable the government officials who let this happen through their negligence and political agenda. If you want to walk out of school, you should walk out to show our politicians that if we see something and we say something, it is their responsibility to do something. I agree with you on gun violence restraining orders if those orders don't violate due process of law. You students have a powerful platform right now. Don't let the mainstream media turn you into pawns. Think for yourself. The media and liberal politicians are encouraging you to make a fool out of yourself because it helps them, and you don't need to do that. Don't allow the fame and the glory to blind you to the truth. Banning guns in our nation has never and will never work. Show your patriotism, make your voice heard, but don't walk out of class to attack our Second Amendment rights and think that that is the solution to gun violence. Be better than that. And that is my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.